What's good? What's good? What's good? Combat Conversation fam. Another Sunday morning, another chance to get it popping in the world of mixed martial arts, boxing, combat sports, and all things like it. So, what's happening, y'all? Didn't get a chance to holler at y'all last Sunday. I was supposed to be at the wine festival, but the weather put a little damper on that. But nevertheless, I am back this Sunday to get it in with y'all, man. A lot to talk about this Sunday. Man, we got a special guest coming through, man. A real good dude, my man. MMA fighter Lee Doomsday Polk. He's going to be calling in to chop it up with us concerning all things MMA. He'll be talking with us for a little while. So we'll be rapping to him. Real good dude, man. We're going to talk to him about MMA, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him about the events of last night, because we'll discuss that on the show as well. We had a pretty dope fight card on UFC Fight Night last night, so we'll talk about that. My man Lee should be calling in within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so we'll wait for him to give us a holler. But in the meantime, we will be talking about the events of last night, UFC Fight Night fight card. That was pretty dope last night. Some pretty awesome fights. A tad bit of controversy with the ending or the judgment thereof, well, rather the outcome of one of the fights, so we'll discuss that as well. We also will take a look at next Saturday's events. We will have a major card coming up next Saturday on August the 4th. That will be the pay-per-view event, UFC 227. UFC 227, you got three big fights. Two of those fights are two big rematches that they have on deck for UFC 227. Next Sunday, we have, oh man, my mind just went blank, but it's going to come right back. There we go. All right. So, we have TJ Dillashaw, his rematch versus Cody Garbrandt. So we'll look into that. We'll do a little brief skim about that rematch that's coming up. We also will have on that docket another rematch, which will have Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson going up against Henry Cejudo. That's a rematch again. Henry Cejudo will be challenging Mighty Mouse again for his flyweight belt. And also my man, Cub Swanson, will be fighting. I'm just saying that I'm a big Cub Swanson fan. For those of you who know me, really know me, know I'm a big Cub Swanson fan. This guy's super tough. But nevertheless, enough with the fanboy. My man will be fighting next Saturday, this coming Saturday as well. So we will be talking about that card, just giving it a quick skim. Hopefully, when my man Lee calls in, we'll discuss his viewpoints on, along with questions, his viewpoints on last night's events, and maybe a brief look into next Saturday's card as well, because that card looks pretty stacked. I'm amped for it. So for those of y'all who want to chime in, even if you have some questions or comments or anything you want to holler at Lee about or me about, or just comments concerning the show or the topics in general, do not hesitate, as you guys always do. Don't hesitate to call 516-590-0997. I know the majority of you always chime in on the Facebook and the Instagram feed, so keep chiming in with the comments on the Facebook live feed. Keep chiming in with the comments on the Instagram live feed. For those of you who are watching in the YouTube land, make sure y'all keep chiming in as well. It's pretty dope, man. I appreciate the love. But, yeah, so while we're waiting for him to call in, he'll be calling in a few minutes. Last night, we had a pretty dope fight card on Fox. UFC Fight Night took place last night. The main event was dope. It was two dope fights. One of them was the main event. Even the prelims had some pretty dope fights as well. But last night, let's start with the main event that took place last night. We had Dustin Poirier. He fought Eddie Alvarez last night. This was a rematch for these two. So you had Dustin Poirier going against Eddie Alvarez. And Dustin beat him by second round TKO last night. This was a rematch because their first fight back in May of 2017 ended in a no contest. That was at UFC, where we at? UFC 211. That's when they first fought. The fight ended in no contest. There was I don't want to say bad blood stemming between these two, but you could tell that it was more so a lot of trash talking taking place to the point where you would figure that they really didn't have much didn't like each other that much. But nevertheless, they were able to square that rematch off last night, and after their first fight with that no contest, Eddie Alvarez. During the first fight, the reason why the fight ended in a no contest is because Alvarez hit Poirier with an illegal knee. An illegal knee meaning that what happened was, while Dustin Poirier was down on the ground, he has his hands down on the mat, which considers you a downed opponent. So when your hands are down in the mat, there are certain strikes and certain things you can't do to the opponent while they consider down. Knees being one of those things. So while Alvarez saw that Poirier was down, I'm not sure if he realized that his hand was down or he technically was in the down position. He hit Eddie Alvarez hit Poirier with the knee and caused a bit of damage, which made the ref score the fight as a no contest. So with that being said, Eddie Alvarez accused Dustin Poirier of quitting on him during the fight. He called him a quitter. So they got a chance to go back at it last night. That was a pretty dope rematch. And he had been wanting that fight for quite some time. Now, the thing with last night's fight, Eddie, it appeared, at least in my opinion, and from what I've been talking to a few other people, that Eddie was getting the best of Dustin, more particularly in that second round. Now, while he had Dustin up against the cage and he appeared to be getting the best of Dustin, he had pinned up against the fence, and he hit Dustin with an elbow. Now, the problem with this elbow is that the elbow was in an up and down motion going against Dustin's head. Up and down meaning what they consider a 12-6 elbow. The elbow of Eddie was at the 12-6 position, like on the clock, meaning he hit him from the up and down motion. So that, according to UFC rules, was illegal. So he separated them, which took the aggression that Eddie had going forward towards Dustin, and he stopped it. The ref stopped it. Mark Goddard stopped it, and it kind of reset them, which some people are saying gave Dustin an unfair advantage, because up until that point where he hit Dustin with the elbow, he had Dustin in trouble. So, being as though he hit him with what they call the 12-6 elbow, the up to down motion, or even, from up down to the head. It doesn't even have to be this way. It could be, up down. I'm not even sure. I've seen it both ways. Nevertheless, he hit him with the 12-6 elbow, which caused him to stop. He reset the fighters. Of course, that gave Dustin a few seconds or a minute or whatever to get himself together, because he was up until that point in a little bit of trouble up against the cage. So when he did reset these two fighters, when he reset Dustin and Eddie, this time Dustin came out guns a-blazing, man. He attacked Eddie, got the best of Eddie. Now the tide of the fight has been turned, which allowed Dustin to get the best of Eddie Alvarez. Turned the whole fight around. Dwight, what's good, bro? How you be, man? Let me see. Did you let me know if you saw that fight last night too, man? The UFC fight night. But yeah, it allowed that ref stopping them and resetting them allowed Dustin to get himself together, turned the tide of the fight, and he came out guns blazing. He just straight attacked Eddie, gave Eddie the business. And Eddie was now at this point in trouble, to the point where he took on too much damage. Ref Mark Goddard was forced to stop the fight. That was the controversy I was referring to a few minutes ago. So now, I don't know, man. Like, see, with the whole, talking trash and wanting the rematch to take place and seeing how this whole thing was going to go down. I don't like to sit here and think that he gave the ref, Mark Goddard, because I can't really blame the whole situation on him. An illegal blow is an illegal blow. I mean, if you're going to go by the book, then don't just use half the book or a certain amount of pages, which I really think, looking at the situation as a whole, Mark Goddard did. I don't think he was unfair in his judgment call there. But the unfortunate thing about that is that it allowed the whole vibration of the fight to change. The vibe of the whole fight changed because Dustin was in trouble. Dustin was hurt visibly. He was physically hurt, and I'm sure that elbow didn't help. But and the argument that a lot of people are using, and I have to be, it's a legitimate point, is that with Eddie fighting as long as he has, he should have known better. I really feel like he should have known better. So we'll get to your opinions on that in a second. I think this is my man Lee calling right now. Let's see. Caller, who you with? What you got, bro?
What's going on, big guy?
My man Lee. What's happening, baby? How you be?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Up early in the morning, helping out the wife to get together for the new one on the way. You know,
that's
me to work.
Hey, congrats on that new bundle, man. Congrats to you and your fam, brother.
Oh, man, appreciate it.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, let me say this, man. I know me and you have been playing phone tag, Facebook tag, inbox tag for quite some time, so I really, really appreciate you taking your time out to come on the show and bless us with your presence, man. It really is appreciated, man. I want to thank you.
Oh, no, shit, thank you, man. Honestly, this is a big thing for me. I've never been on a podcast before, so I've been all weekend all giddy about, oh, man, my first podcast. Heck yeah, I'm getting on this right now.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man. I appreciate your time. So, for those of you who are just tuning in, or those of you who are waiting for the special guest, we have MMA fighter Lee Doomsday Polk on the line right now. We're going to chop it up with him for a little bit. So Lee, let's start, man. Let's tell me about, what promotion do you fight for? Let's start there. Before we get into the whole history of it.
I fought for a couple promotions. Most of the big one is the big one down here in Tennessee, Battle Promotions. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Absolutely.
Tim Lloyd, the owner, he's the one who got me on as far as my first fights, and probably the scenes that I've gotten, I probably owe it to him and Valor Fights. I've also fought on the Warriors Den promotion out in Dixon, Tennessee, which another top class guys. They're actually wanting me to go back down there in November to be on their card, but I'm probably on the shelf until like January. I got to take some time off and spend some time with the family. With the little one going on. So
you got it.
My wife has been she's been supportive in this endeavor I'm on, so I don't want to feel like I take advantage of that. And so just spend some time with the family. It's been a long 3 years as far as the training and everything. So I'll probably won't compete again until like January, February, till next year. I just hang out with the family until then.
Oh, that's dope,
just
man.
Started a new career, so
That's dope, man. I mean, I know it makes a big difference having a support system, especially with your spouse and your family. You have them in your corner and support them like that. It makes a big difference, man. I know it does.
Oh, it does. It does.
Hey, is there a...
Yeah, she's still...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother.
Oh, I'm saying she still can't. It still gets her nerves. Out there seeing enemy out there, she's still a nervous wreck. But she's a fan of MMA herself, so it's okay as long as I'm not in there.
Hey, listen, I was speaking to my wife, man. I'm a newlywed. I just got married in May 10th. And, I've never done MMA, but I've always been a jiu-jitsu guy.
Congrats.
So I was speaking to her about me competing again, man. And she always joked. She said, "Listen, if you die, I'm gonna kill you." So she always says that to me. So I take that with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Your wife and my wife would get along just fine, man.
Hey, man, is there a particular gym you fight out of down in Tennessee?
I fought out of the Killer Beach gym out of here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Really good guys. You got David Robbins. They've got the number one Army heavyweight going to go pro. Billy Swanson trains out of there.
That's what's up.
You got a up and comer Joseph Long. Be looking for that guy to make some noise in the future. He's actually headed towards the Muay Thai World. I think it's next month. I think it is. So definitely be looking out for that guy to make some noise. He's a long, rangy fighter. Sparring with him, sometimes it sucks. Like I can't get to him. And of course, like I say, you got Billy Swanson. Be looking for him to make some noise in the heavyweight division. And of course, the owner, David Robbins. He's the current 185 Strikefest Muay Thai champion.
Wow.
Be looking for him to make some noise also. I've trained with then plus, I've got my corner man, Dakota Pale, a boxer stylist. Be looking for him to do something soon as well. So I've trained with a lot of good guys, which I can say has made the success that I've had come pretty easy.
That's awesome, man. So I noticed you. I know you're an MMA guy. I know you're into jiu-jitsu a lot too. But I heard you mention Muay Thai, and I know you've you've competed. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've competed on the amateur level in Muay Thai as well.
Yeah, I've had my first. Actually, I had my first amateur Muay Thai. I started MMA before I actually had my first Muay Thai fight. I ended up losing that fight by decision. To another guy. Be looking out for him. His name's Caleb Franks, and he tagged me up pretty good. Being in a Muay Thai fight is much different than being an MMA fight. MMA you start. You can kind of gauge your opponent, see what they're going to do.
Right.
Muay Thai, you just need to go out and get it because by the time you get ready, it's already over.
Man, something I noticed about Muay Thai, their conditioning is sick, man. Like. I just be looking at these guys like, bruh, how did you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
man.
And it's I had the training just for a Muay Thai fight is just so different because I was, let's say MMA, like me, a lot of my work is done in the clinch. So
right.
If I can get my hands on you, get you up against the cage and just work you over, I can sit there, and beat you up and rest.
Right.
Like you're trying to just use my weight on you. Muay Thai, you got to move around a lot. That
right.
fight, I ain't gonna lie, I gassed out. Second round, I was blowing wind. But it was fun. It was a good experience. That's my, when people ask, why do I do it? Honestly, for me, it's never been to get famous or anything like that. I just love, it's my spirit of competition. I just love to compete.
That's what
I got into this MMA.
I've never done anything like pro or nothing like that. Never, not even close. But I do it because it's fun to me. I just love it. It's just fun. It's naturally fun for me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I've never had any ambitions on going to the UFC. I originally got into MMA because I was 36 years old. I was playing semi-pro football, and I was like, you know what? I've never even been in a fight before. 36 years old, never been in a fight. So I was like, you know what? Why not try MMA? Let's give it a try and see what happens. And I racked off two straight wins. I got a title fight, my third fight. Ended up losing to a guy. He caught me with a straight jab and dropped me. Ended up losing in a minute and 30 seconds in the first round, but it was a good time. I'm still amateur right now.
Right.
I hold a 4-2 record, which ain't bad for a 36-year-old. I'm 38 now, so
absolutely,
it's not too bad.
Absolutely. Hey, what weight class do you fight? Are you up there with the big boys, or are you a little down, a little under that? Which class are you in?
I'm actually a heavyweight right now, and that's just because I've been eating. But I fought at a light heavyweight, and I fought at middleweight. So any of those three, I'm able to fight at.
So with you, well, that's 3 different weight classes. I know. See, and that makes me think about the whole cutting weight. I don't know if I want to call it a fiasco or how. Well, before I get to the whole cutting weight thing, what's the toughest part that you find as a fighter getting ready for a fight or fight prep? What's the toughest part about it?
To be honest with you, it's not being able. I'm like I said, I like to eat, and not being able to eat when my wife is eating honey buns and cakes and fried chicken, and I'm sitting there having to eat green beans and and water and almonds, you know. It tends to make for it not to put me in a good, you know. I thought that whole well, if you're cutting weight, it puts you in a good mood. It puts you in a bad mood. I thought that was a myth. No, it's true. You know, I'm walking around just angry for no reason. Why is the dog looking at me? Huh? What
Right.
do you want?
Oh man. Hey,
But
so
other than that, you know, I honestly, I love the. It sucks, but at the same time, I love the whole process of, you know, the training, the cutting weight, because you think there's not a lot of people. You got to have something in you to be able to get through all that stuff, and there aren't many
Definitely.
people that can do that.
definitely.
You know, and plus, you know, I was holding down a full-time job, you know, taking care of family, plus having to cut weight. So
Wow. Wow.
that adds more of a challenge.
Right. Wow. So I mean, so do you think it's more of a discipline thing? Why do you think for some fighters it's so hard? The whole cutting weight process is so hard. Like it seems that some fighters that do it like, all right, come on, let's do it. And then you have some fighters that it seems like okay, if they don't make it, it's not a surprise because it's always a thing with them. Like, why do you think for some fighters it's so hard? Is it discipline? Is it the ability, or how hard it is to do it? What do you think?
I mean, I think if you're like up on the, I hate to say, you know, I don't, you know, because I hate for my judgment to be taken the wrong way because, you know, I've missed weight once, so I get it.
I get
You know,
it.
my first trip to 185 was a complete disaster. You know, I came in, you know, 4 pounds overweight. You know, I looked like I was, you know, had been out smoking crack somewhere and about to pass out. But, you know, luckily the guy still kept the fight. But like I said, I hate to put my judgment out there because, like I said, I have missed weight. So
Understood.
it's kind of hard for me to say, well, you're a professional, you know, you should be able to make weight. But if it's, you know, you miss weight 1 or 2 times, okay, things happen. You know, but if it's a constant thing, then honestly it just comes down to who's in your fight camp. You know, are they telling you the right thing?
Oh,
Are you
okay.
disciplined enough to
Okay.
get what needs to be done? It's just so many variables, you know, that goes along with, you know, the weight cutting.
It's a lot of factors involved. Definitely.
It's a lot of factors, you know, and and the thing, you know, some guys, you know, they just can't do it, you know, like what's the guy's name? I know he fights at middleweight now.
Is it what's it? Romero? Yoel Romero?
Well, like Romero, like let's say Romero was made 85 before, you know,
Right.
so it's hard for me to say, well, he needs to move up because he's done it. That's what he's fought at.
Right.
I think pretty much. Gastelum, that's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
Kevin Gas got you. Right.
Kevin Gastelum, you know, he was, you know, trying to get down to 170. I think he only did it like, you know,
I think it was maybe twice,
I think
if that.
all
Right.
through maybe twice. You know, it's like some guys, you know, their body just aren't built for. You know, I didn't think I could get to 185, but you know, with the right discipline and the right guys I had, I made it. You know, and I even thought about with going down to 170, but then that's when I say, you know what, I'm disciplined enough to get to 185. I don't have that discipline to get to 170. I'll admit that. It won't happen. I won't play and say, you know what, screw this. I need some honey buns.
Hey, sometimes we gotta stay in our lane, man. I can dig it. I can dig
Yeah,
it. bro.
okay, stay in your lane.
Gotta stay. Oh
The
man.
thought was good though.
Right. Oh man. So hold on. So now, do you? What negative effects, like as far as you know? Okay, you're going through the whole weight cut process, and you're making a sacrifice and certain things you have to give up, and of course, with you going through that process, it's going to have effect on your body. Have an effect on your body. Excuse me. Do you recognize, or are there any noticeable negative effects that you think it will have on your body as far as your health is concerned? Because some people, I've noticed that a lot of people that I've talked to, as far as fighters, even amateur and pro, or complain about the negative effects it has on your health?
To be honest with you, I can't say that I felt any negative effect as far as like health wise. As long as you're putting the right stuff in your body, doing it the right way.
Gotcha.
And like you said, trying to and stay in your lane. You don't try to if you walk around at like 200 pounds, don't try to go and try to be a 170.
Right.
You walk around at 215 unless you're like starting 6 months out. And I think that's a lot of the guys just need to look at what's good for their body, and like if you get and go towards something that's comfortable. Like I can make 185 and be comfortable. Sure it's uncomfortable going through the weight cut and everything, but that's something that I can comfortably get down to with the right training, eating the right foods, doing the right exercises. That's no big deal. And I think that's a lot of the guys, they want to have that edge. Well, I'm a bigger guy, so I'll go to a smaller weight class, and it ends up backfiring.
Yep. Wow.
But that's just my opinion. I'm just an amateur. I don't know that. I don't know too much.
No, it's all good. I mean, I respect that, and I take that with a grain of salt. But it's good to have an opinion from someone who's actually been hands-on. You know what I mean? Hands-on. I mean, you can say you're amateur, and I get it, but you've actually been through it. It's one thing to be on the outside. I've never really had to deal with weight cut before. Like I said, I'm just a jiu-jitsu guy. Tournaments here, tournament there. I've not something that I've ever had to prepare for actual fight. So to hear it from somebody who's actually been through it, it makes a difference. You respect that opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I noticed earlier you mentioned about you fighting in the amateur league or at just amateur circuits and not really going pro at this age. Now, at the age you are now, if the opportunity was presented to you to maybe test the waters in a pro league, do you think that would be something that would pique your interest, or you would kind of stay away from that at this point?
To be honest, I've always wanted to be, a pro athlete. I've had, dreams of being, in the NFL one day. It didn't work out. A lot of guys, it doesn't work out for as far as football goes. But a goal would be to sign a pro contract, just to say, hey, I was a pro athlete. It's not so much as, the money thing, because I think once money gets involved, it becomes more of a job. And I like the aspect of I'm having fun with it. I like going through the whole process, hanging out with the guys, getting in training. I think, and that's fine if that's what you wanted to be, was a pro fighter, then okay, that's what you want. You want that, having to deal with money and, all those things. Those other things really I don't care about. Would it be cool to say, hey, I fought and got paid for it? Oh, hell yeah, who wouldn't?
Right.
But to make it like a constant thing where it's like I'm always having to, and honestly, at my age now, I've got to think about stuff like, CTE and,
right,
the damage and stuff like that. Not saying that because, there are a lot of older fighters now who are just fine.
Right.
But that's something that I do take into account. I don't want to damage myself to where I can't enjoy my kids, later on and watch them as they go through their their life. So if I were to take a pro contract, it would have to make sense for me. I don't, I know a lot of guys, they're like, why even do it if you don't want to get paid for it? For me, it's never been about getting paid. It's more likely just to see if I can do it. It was a goal. Hey, I want to be a pro athlete. So once I do it, I might take 1 or 2 pro fights, and then hell, I'll be done with it because I know I can't go back down to amateur after you sign a pro contract.
Right. No, that's what's up, man. That's up.
So,
wow, just have that scratched
off
your bucket list, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bucket list thing. I've got a lot of other things going on. Me and you are both huge nerds. So,
Absolutely.
my big thing is I want to be a screenwriter. That's my dream goal right there, to
Oh,
be
that's
able to
dope,
write.
man. That's what's up.
You know, you know. See, I want to a film to come across the screen that you see written by Lee Tuesday Folk. That's my goal right there.
Good luck with that, man. That's dope, man. That's what's up. Wow. All right. So now, um, I gotta ask you this: Do you? I'm not. You've been doing this for a minute now. Do you still get nervous before a fight? And if you do, if the answer is yes, what do you do, or is there anything you do in particular to kind of calm that down?
To be honest with you, if I'm not nervous, I'm nervous about not being nervous.
Uh,
It's if anyone says that they're not scared before a fight, I'll call BS. Because if you're nervous, that means you're going to be you're going to be more aware. You get no senses heightened. My last fight, I won a knockout of the year for it last year. The opponent got changed at the last minute, and the first guy was fighting. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna beat this guy. The guy that they brought in was a 24-year-old stud, and I'm walking around backstage, scared, shitless, out pacing, breaking out in cold sweats,
right.
But once my music, comes on, then it's either, and you walk up that cage, time to be nervous is over. It's either he's going home laid out or I'm going home
Right.
laid out. So.
That adrenaline hit you, man. That's what's up. I can dig it, man. That's what's up. Wow, man. What would you say is the most frustrating thing you've had to deal during your career as a fighter?
Man, how much time you got?
You got a little while, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours, brother.
I can't say that I've had many frustrated things. I mean, probably just if I'm working out, with my guy, and I can't get a certain combo right, or getting beat down by a lot of the better guys, and I'm think I'm getting better, and the next thing you know, I'm up against the wall, getting hammered. And that's, I guess, is one thing. You always think you're getting better until someone shows you that you're not.
Absolutely.
That can be, that can be pretty. But at the same time, I guess that's the job of a coach, to break you down and then build you back up. I'm one of those guys. If I don't learn something quickly, then it frustrates me. But like I said, all in all, I haven't had many complaints about. I've enjoyed pretty much everything about it. I don't have many complaints about any. Of course, I don't complain much anyway. So.
No, that's great, man. That's great. What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment as a fighter?
Aside from like I said, I won the Valor Fights Knockout of the Year award last year. That was probably a really big accomplishment for me, because I had never won anything like that as far as sports. I played a high school ball at Tyner High School here in Chattanooga, and I'm probably one of the better guys, but because of my size, really didn't get a lot of recognition. But like winning that award last year was probably a huge accomplishment for me. And I'm 38 years old. I've had 2 title fights. So
Sweet.
Doing that at this age, that in itself is an accomplishment.
Sweet. All right. So, looking back throughout all the accomplishments, all the wins, all the losses, all the things that you've done to move forward in your career, how would you describe, comparing yourself to when you started, up until this point, how would you describe your growth as a fighter?
Probably, if you could have saw me throw a punch when I first got in there, you'd be on the floor right now. Probably, I guess it's more like, the mental growth. A lot of the guys that are coming in now, I'll get messages from, hey, just wanting some advice on how to handle themselves as far as like, taking fights and getting in the right training and as far as dieting and stuff like that. So the biggest thing is like a lot of guys, they want to. When you're young, you think you can get out there and whoop everybody.
Right.
And I tell a lot of these younger guys, get the right training in. Don't just go out there and be cannon fodder for someone who's got 5 or 6 fights and you're just now coming in, because most of the time it's not going to end up good on your part.
You setting yourself up
then
for
you
failure,
waste
man.
it. Right. Yeah, you set don't just if a promotion says, hey, you want to fight, I got this guy that's 5-0, and I know you want to fight, I can set you with him. Don't just take the first fight, that comes to, even if you've been training, for a while. Some guys can do it, but there are a lot of guys that shouldn't do it, And like I say, just don't rush the process, make sure that you're ready. Don't let anyone try to force you in the fight. And if you don't feel like you're ready, then don't do it, because at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your career.
Right.
No sense in and losing out on something that could be pretty good.
Right.
Take care of yourself.
Absolutely, man. Now, as long as I've known you, one of the things that how we met, we gravitated toward each other is both our love for MMA. So of course, being an MMA fan, I know you have certain fighters that you follow. Are there any fighters in particular that you are maybe not even a fan of? Are there any fighters that maybe had an influence on your MMA career?
Probably the biggest one who influenced me to be a fighter was I don't know if you Houston Alexander.
Oh yeah, yep.
He fought what was the guy's name? The Dean of Mean.
Keith Jardine.
Keith Jardine. Yeah. He was, and I really didn't know much about MMA. I was just having to be going over and watching some of the replays, and it was Houston Alexander against Keith Jardine.
Mm-hmm.
And, Keith Jardine was, tagging him a little bit, and Houston Alexander just exploded with a knee and just beat Keith Jardine down. And I was like, holy crap. Wow. And since then, I know he's not fighting on the larger levels, on the larger scales now, but he still gets in there and fights, and I still follow him. And like I said, he was probably my biggest influence, as to wanting to be a fighter.
Cool. Wow. Another question. Do you think that the current state of MMA, do you think MMA is, and when I ask this, I'm looking at it as a broad scale, with a lot of the rules that have been implemented now to protect the fighters, the whole CTE thing that you were referring to earlier, them getting more strict as far as the anti-doping and the PEDs, and I mean, I'm just using those things as example. Do you think that the sport of MMA is in a good place right now?
To be honest with you, I think it's fine. Of course, UFC is going to be king. People say, you see people all the time that, I'm not watching, UFC is such and such happen. Yes, you are. You're going to watch just to see what happens. Because don't lie to yourself. You're going to see, people say, I guess the big thing right now is if John Jones comes back, I'm just going to quit watching the UFC because that's all they care about is money. Duh, it's a business.
All right, come on, stop. Right, let's stop.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
If John Jones comes back, heck yeah, I'm going to watch it, and so are you, because you may dislike John Jones, but you're going to watch that pay per view or whatever he's in just to try to see if he gets knocked out.
Exactly. Exactly.
So don't kid yourself. You're going to watch it. But with Bellator, coming up, I like what Bellator is doing with the whole.
I like Bellator.
The two tournaments they got coming up. I'm really excited about that. And you got I've been looking at a lot of ONE Championship. Over, I think it's in Singapore. I think where ONE is.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, on a grand scale, I think altogether, MMA is fine. Once they start to, get some of these. Now, the one thing I don't like is guys like, the CM Punks coming in, which I get it, I understand it's a business, but there are a lot of guys who are deserving of that spot that CM Punk is taking, that deserve a chance instead of, having him on like main event. And I'm a wrestling fan. This is coming from a wrestling fan. I love wrestling. But I also know that, there are a lot of guys that need to have that spot instead of someone like CM Punk.
Right. That's the same conversation I had in the barbershop a while ago. Like, looking at it through both sides of the coin, looking at it as a MMA fan, you'd be like, dude, this sucks. Like, why is he even in there on a pay-per-view card? But then looking at it on the business side of the coin, Dana is going to put on the card who he knows is going to be a draw and is going to make him money. Even though it sucks, people want to see the name of CM Punk fight for the simple fact of he's CM Punk.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if it's just seeing him get beat down so they can then talk about it on social media,
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, Dana made money, so what does it matter?
Exactly.
We're going to sit and complain about it, but we're also going to watch.
We're also going to, exactly, right. Oh, man. So with that, is there anything that you would change about MMA right now? If you had to, let's say if you were on a committee or a panel or something, and there was a rule that you had the opportunity to implement, or some type of rule that you would change for either the betterment of the sport or the betterment of the fighters, or is there any particular thing that you could think of that you would change if you had the ability or authority?
Honestly, I like the idea of 4 weight classes, and I think that's how at least between I guess there's like the middleweight and the light heavyweights. You got like the 190. I like the idea of more weight classes. Probably less guys missing weight.
Exactly.
Less guys missing out on money from missing weight, having to pay your opponent.
Right.
That would, let me see. Other than that, I don't really know the innards of MMA that much. So I'm just a fan. But the things that I do know about, the restrictions on the bans on PEDs, I think are a little too strict, especially for the guys that find out that what they took wasn't their fault.
It was a these guys
are losing money.
Right.
They are losing money because you take a supplement. I'm sure some of these guys have good people around them and will let them know, but some of these, supplement companies, they don't tell you everything that they put into it.
They just throwing it on the
shelf. And some of these guys are, they're just throwing it on the shelf. It's a business. They're just trying to make money. Hey, this and this will help you if you take this. So I think a lot of these guys are missing out on paydays because they took something that they really didn't know what was in their supplement. But at the same time, Mighty Mouse he said he lets USADA know what he takes in Advil, So,
I can't really blame him, man, because he's looking at it like, I don't want no trouble. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, right. Yeah. And like I said, and I ain't gonna lie, I've taken, PEDs before, and to be honestly, I never noticed a difference in strength or anything. And I took some pretty good stuff, and I never know. I know the one thing that I noticed is my recovery time was faster.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But as far as like, strength, speed or what, it's either you can fight or you can't. That's what I say. Taking a PED doesn't magically make you able to fight. It's like with, everyone was giving Barry Bonds, so much, crap about, when he was taking,
right.
he was jacking home runs before he took.
Yeah, he really was.
So
right.
it didn't just magically, it didn't magically happen overnight,
Right.
So,
I will say,
PEDs
don't improve your hand-eye coordination when you're hitting the ball. It don't.
Exactly. That comes with training,
Oh man.
But at the same time, I do get it. People feel that that's an edge, But I'm just saying personally, I've never felt an edge because I've taken them and I've still got mauled on the football field and
wow.
I still can't shoot a free throw. And I suck at baseball, so.
Oh man, yeah, that was baseball was my thing growing up, man.
Really, I'm bad at it. I got cut from the baseball team all 3 years I went out in high school.
Man, I've been a baseball fan probably since I could walk. That's just been my thing. Yeah. So, oh man, hey, did you get a chance to check out any of the fights last night?
I tried. I got called in to work, so I was like in and out trying to watch them on my phone. But I did see the Aldo fight and the Dustin Poirier.
Yo, you saw that body shot Aldo gave him, man?
Oh yeah, that was.
Bro, that joint was
I've been
deadly,
on that side
man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on that side of catching one of those, and when they say it shuts your body down,
I have too.
It shuts your body down.
Yes, when that especially you catch that a mean one to the liver. Oh my gosh, brother! Listen, you want to talk about pain? I don't think they, brother, man. Woo.
Probably that's one thing that'll make me wave the white flag.
Absolutely, I have waved the white flag before, being on the receiving end, and so I believe it. I have done it. Like, listen, no mas. I don't know no more. I've done it. So yeah, man, them things ain't no joke. Now I gotta ask you about the Alvarez Dustin Poirier fight last night. Now, right before you called in, I was talking about a little bit of controversy that happened with that fight. Now, I don't know if you saw the part where I guess in that was it the second round? Yeah. Well, he had Dustin up against the cage, and he was giving Dustin a little bit of business, and then he came across with the quote unquote the 12-6 elbow, and according to them, the up and down strike, and technically, I guess that's an illegal blow in UFC rules. Did you agree with the ref's decision to separate them? Because once he separated them and they got reset, the whole vibe of the fight changed, and Dustin started giving him the business, and he beat Eddie down. So did you think that was a legit call by Goddard?
It's in the rule book, and Goddard made the call, so I mean you can't argue with it. The 12-6 isn't, you can't use it. So I mean, what do you say?
Right. Now, my only argument was
the fighters are.
I really think Eddie had been fighting long enough to know better. But again, like you said, the rule is the rule. So you can't just enforce one rule or just go by this page. If you're going to enforce it, you got to enforce it all the way. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I said, and I know Poirier said, it was hitting him in his shoulder, but I'm thinking where Goddard was standing, he probably didn't know that, but all he saw was 12-6.
Right.
And like I said, it's in the rule book. Goddard made the right call, and that's what happened,
Right. Now, I don't know, but as far as that Aldo fight, man, this kid Aldo, man, he. Let me see. In my notes, man, I'm looking at Aldo's stats, man. Like, he beat Jeremy Stephens last night. Aldo, he goes to 27-4. He's 31 years old. Up until he lost to my man Mad Max, Max Holloway twice for the the title shots. Other than that, he's gone almost 10 years or a 10-year winning streak up until Mad Max, man. So I know it felt good for him to get back in the W column last night. Do you see him being? I'm just thinking, like looking at the featherweight division. You know, Max is out. We talked about CTE earlier. Max is out on concussion protocol. They're not sure when he's going to come back, so they're probably going to do the interim thing in the featherweight division. Number one contender, rightfully so, is Brian Ortega. Do you see Jose getting a shot at Ortega for the interim belt?
If let me see, what is Hollow? I mean, Aldo. He's number 3 or is he number 2?
He's number 2. He was number 2 last night, fighting against Jeremy, which was number 4. The only person in between is Frankie Edgar, who was number 3. But we all know how that panned out last time they ran into each other.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, you know, I like Max.
I do
too. If Max can't, if his health won't let him defend, you know, I would say, you know, strip him of the title, you know, and let Aldo and Brian take a fight for it, because you know it's unfortunately it is for Max, but I don't think you should handcuff a division.
Right, that's not fair. That wouldn't be fair, right?
Because it's not fair. You know, the circus got to keep moving.
Right.
You know, and like I said, we were talking about that last time. I hate interim belts. You know,
right.
I hate it's a fake. It's a fake that it don't mean nothing. I agree with Brian. You know, he said, "Why would I want to fight for a fake belt?"
Right.
You know, I want the real
did say that. He did say that.
You know.
Wow.
So I'd say strip Max and let them two fight it out.
Right. Right. Because I mean, they don't know how long Max is going to be out, man. Like the CTE protocol, it's going to take a minute for him to get back. So.
Oh yeah, because you don't want if Max comes back, you know, you don't want a yeah, I'm okay to a fight. Yeah, I can fight Max.
Right.
You want okay, look, let's get in here and get this done, Max. You know,
fully 100%.
You know, yeah,
right.
I can fight Max. Yeah, I can fight Max. That's saying, you know, well, I can fight Max. He can get in there and get KO'd in the first round. We want and as fight fans, me and you want to see a war.
Right.
You know,
whereas we want 100% Max. Right.
Yeah, we don't want 75% Max.
Right. Oh man, I gotta and this brings me to my thing. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about this next one, man. This next card, UFC 227. Thinking about the lightweight, there's 3 fights on that card that I want to talk about real quick, and one of them, my man who was also a featherweight, Cub Swanson. I'm a big Cub Swanson fan, man. So I would like to see him get another title shot. I'm really not sure how that's going to pan out, but I would love to see that happen. So now, looking at the 227 card, one of the fights on there. Give me 1 second here. I'm pulling it up now. I thought I had it on my screen. Here we go. All right. So looking at the 227 card, you got Cub Swanson going against what's this dude's name? Renato Moicano. Moicano. He's ranked number 10. Cub is ranked number 5. This should, you know what? I'm not going to say this should be a cakewalk for Swanson, but I'm expecting Cub to win this fight. And I'm not saying that being a fanboy because I'm a big Cub fan. But if Cub wins this fight, yeah, I'm assuming that will put him in the mix for that, as we said, quote unquote, interim belt, because you got B. Ortega, who's number 1. Jose is number 2. Mm-hmm. Frankie Edgar's number 3. Jeremy just lost. He was 4. And right there at 5 is my man Cub. So I'm hoping that will put him in the mix, man.
I'm a Cub Swanson fan myself. So if Cub Swanson has he had a title shot yet?
Cub? Yeah, Cub. Let me see. Cub. I think he lost to. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. I think he lost to Frankie. Was it Frankie Edgar? Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. I think he might have had more than one. Cub Swanson.
I can't recall.
I can't either. Let me see. Okay, here we go. So he nope. He was in a title eliminator of both against Frankie and Max. He lost to them both. Then he lost to B. Ortega back in December. Then he fought Frankie and lost to Frankie again in April. So that's what it was. So he's one of those fighters that's been to the top of the mountain but could never get really to the pinnacle. You know what I mean?
Couldn't get to the summit. Yeah.
Right. Couldn't get to the summit. So I would love to see him get a title shot. Now, the two main fights on this card, of course, they're both rematch title fights. You got T.J. Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt. Man, who you got? Who you got for this fight?
Man, I'm a fan of both guys.
I like them both too. I'm more of a TJ fan, but I like them both.
Oh yes, I hope they knock each other around. It's a draw, so I ain't got to choose.
Oh man.
TJ won. As a Muay Thai person, I know that TJ trains with Dwayne Bang.
Yes.
And so that's why I like TJ. You know, I know they do that Dutch style Muay Thai. So
exactly.
That's my fan. That's why I'm a fan of TJ. But at the same time, Cody, I love his personality. I love his boxing style.
Right.
I don't know. I'm gonna flip a coin and just hope it's a good fight. I don't have
well, Cody he's definitely the smack talker of the two. He's up until he fought TJ, he's been backing it up. He's 11-1. That only one loss is to TJ. So
yeah. Man. Yeah, I just hope it's a good fight. If I had money, I'd go put it on something else because I don't.
Yeah, I would hate to have to call this one, man, to be the judge.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, the other fight on that card is Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's fighting Henry Cejudo again. Now, I'm sure you remember how their first fight turned out, that first round knee. Once he hit him with that knee, Cejudo was done.
It was over. Yeah.
So he's going again, and I would like to believe it's pretty safe to say that Cejudo is not the same fighter that from last time that they fought. That was, when did they fight? That was back in October. No, I'm sorry, in April of 2016. So I'm trying to figure out what would I see different this time around, because Mighty Mouse isn't the same fighter as this. Mighty Mouse is just a monster, man.
Yeah, like I said, Mighty Mouse is not going to be the same Mighty Mouse we saw when he fought him last time. So
right.
He's constantly evolving. So honestly, unless an act of God comes down and breaks Mighty Mouse's leg right there in the ring, I don't see it being any different. Cejudo's a wrestler, and
he's a gold medal level wrestler. Yeah. Wow.
He's going to, I don't see and this is nothing against my wrestling guys out there.
Absolutely.
I love you, but I hate you.
Oh man. Hey,
I don't see anything different happening with Mighty Mouse and Cejudo.
Oh, okay, one more before I let you go.
It might go to the second round.
It might. One more before I let you go, man. DC Daniel Cormier, man, with him beating Stipe, and which route would you take? Would you rather see him rematch Stipe, or would you rather see him go ahead and scrap with Brock? Because he set a hard date for March of next year for his retirement, so he's only going to have one, maybe two fights / title defenses left. Which route would you rather see him take? Me personally, I would like to see him go against Stipe again. What do you think?
As a fan, I would like to see it, and I guess I'm more of a I guess you say a gentleman type thing. I think Stipe deserves the rematch.
I do. I think so too.
I really don't care to see Brock and DC. I know it'll make money, but me as a fan, I really don't care to see it. That's the one that I'll probably just see if I can catch a highlight of.
Gotcha.
I don't have any interest in that.
Gotcha. Oh man, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure, brother. I appreciate you calling in, taking the time out from your father's schedule. Soon to be addition to the family. Congrats again, man. I appreciate you calling in, man. Please, brother, show love. I definitely appreciate it. And please continue to keep in touch, boss, man.
Oh, most definitely. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I had a blast.
Absolutely, my man. Anytime, brother. Anytime you feel necessary to call, man, don't hesitate. You got the number. You got my personal number, so anytime, brother. I
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
appreciate you.
All right, most definitely. Thanks, man.
You too, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll be later.
Cool. That was my man, MMA fighter Lee Polk, man, calling in to chop it up with his man. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Really, really cool dude, man, talking to us all things concerning MMA, the fights that took place last night, the fight events that are coming up this Saturday, man, talking to us about his career as a fighter in general, man. Real, real awesome interview, man. Again, real cool dude. So before we proceed, man, I want to give a shout out to one of my sponsors. This is the Lewis Financial Group with Russell G. Lewis. He is an authorized agent with Progressive Insurance, and this is the agency with the honesty and integrity that comes with a handshake. They represent a plethora of insurance carriers and financial services companies, including Progressive, as well as other carriers such as Foremost, Hagerty, American Collectors, Aetna, Assurant, Bankers Group, Universal Property and Casualty, Selective Flood, Ameriplan, Legal Shield, Transamerica, Nationwide, Victoria, College Funding Solutions, Alliance, Access Insurance, and much, much more. He's licensed in multiple states, including Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Arizona, Missouri, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Texas, so that you can get the help that you need across the USA. You get the best of these major carriers and his expertise in representing them. See more of what he can do by visiting them online at www.lewisfinancialgroup.net, or you can call him up and get a quote, 443-622-0561, to speak to an agent Monday through Friday between 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. And they're also available on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Once again, that's the Lewis Financial Group with Russell G. Lewis. Visit them online to get a quote, www.lewisfinancialgroup.net, or call them up, 443-622-0561. Awesome, awesome service. Quick, before we roll out, man, we also had Mikey Garcia last night on Showtime Boxing. Mikey Garcia beat Robert Esther. He unified the lightweight titles last night. Mikey Garcia is a very, very accomplished boxer, man. This dude is awesome. He's an awesome fighter. Won 4 world titles in 4 different weight classes. He's not near the top. He's near the top of boxing's pound-for-pound list, and he deserves to be on the list, undoubtedly. Mikey Garcia is a bad man. And last night, he dominated Robert Easter Jr., who was an awesome fighter himself, by the way, but he just was no match for Mikey Garcia. And with Mikey Garcia winning last night, he outpointed him to unify the two 135-pound lightweight titles last night. After his win, Garcia said, or he kind of mentioned that he had his eye going up to welterweight because he wants to challenge Errol Spence for his title. I'm kind of torn as to whether or not I think that's a good idea for Mikey. And it's not a notch against Mikey because, again, Mikey is an awesome fighter. I think his resume proves that. I'm just not sure if he wants to move up to fight a fighter on the level of Errol Spence. I do think that he would put up a good fight. I just don't think that he has enough to get the W against Spence. But that's left to be determined. Nevertheless, great performance last night by Mikey Garcia. He goes to 39-0 with 30 of those 39 wins coming by either KO or TKO or some form of stoppage, because Mikey Garcia is a finisher. First round, I give it to both fighters for feeling each other out. Through that first round, which is what you usually see happen when you have two really good fighters in the ring. But from that second round on, Garcia was pretty much dominant throughout the fight. And looking at the lightweight or even junior welterweights that are out there, I don't really see anybody else that would be on Garcia's level. So I guess if you wanted to move forward regards to of competition value, he probably would have to move up to welterweight to challenge Earl Spence. But I just don't think that. I mean, I don't know. Like, would he take a warm up fight before fighting Spence in the welterweight division? I don't know. But yeah, I guess that would be a good move for him. I guess the opponent, which would be Spence, is who I would put in question. Again, great fighter, awesome fighter, Mikey Garcia. I just don't think that him going straight to the lion, which would be Errol Spence, if he moves up it to the welterweight division, would be a great idea. We'll find out. We will find out. And next Sunday, we will be talking about the results of UFC 227. And we will be discussing the events of the boxing matches that we had taking place this coming Saturday, August 4th as well. So not only do we have UFC 227 on August 4th, HBO Boxing has Sergey Kovalev versus Ilder Alvarez. That's a light heavyweight bout scheduled for 12 rounds. They have Isaac Chilemba versus Dimitri Bivol, and they will be scrapping for the WBA World Light Heavyweight title. And also, PBC Boxing, which will be aired on Fox, will have Andre Berto versus Devon Alexander in a welterweight 10-round bout. So that is what we have on the docket for this coming Saturday. HBO Boxing, PBC Boxing on Fox, and UFC 227, which is an awesome, awesome pay-per-view card they have stacked up. We will be talking about these things and a few others in the world of combat sports next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on Combat Conversation. Big shout out to my man Lee Polk again for calling in, chopping up with us. Yeah, so until next Sunday, I will talk to you later, family. Deuces.